Okay. Um, so just a little context here. I've actually talked about California, the University of California, and like affirmative action before, because I'm a person who went to the University of California for school. I grew up in the state of California. Oh, it's not frustrating. I just want us to like be familiar with kind of the state of affairs, right? Because I do think that there are some people who are a bit like more confused about, oh, it's just like they're confused about what the heck? They're confused about whether this is like a real thing or not. Anyway, so we're going to talk about legacy admissions in Stanford. So Stanford to continue legacy admissions and withdraw from Cal grants. Stanford University will continue to consider the legacy status of applicants as a part of its admissions process for fall 2026. And to do so, it will withdraw, at least for now, from the Cal Grant program, a state-funded source that provides financial aid to California students attending public and private higher education in institutions in the state. Last year, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed Assembly Bill 1780 into law, prohibiting the state independent universities from providing a legacy or donor preference in admissions to their applicants. The prohibition is set to go into effect in September. Stanford has considered alumni and donor status for academically qualified students in the past, and it will continue to do so according to updated admissions criteria the university announced last week. Those criteria also include a reinstatement of standardized testing requirements for the class entering Stanford in fall 2026. When California enacted AB 1780, it became the fifth state to pass some type of ban against colleges giving an advantage to the relatives of alumni or institutional donors, and the second state to do so for private institutions. In August of last year, Illinois became the fourth state to pass a legacy admission prohibition, following Maryland, which enacted a legacy admission ban last April that applies to both public and private colleges. Colorado passed its ban in 2021, and Virginia did so last year. Introduced by the California Assembly member Phil Ting, the bill went through significant revisions. Originally, it would have prohibited universities from receiving funds through the Cal Grant Financial Aid Program if they gave preferential admissions treatment to applicants with donor or alumni connections. That provision was later amended so that a school could extend a legacy or donor preference would that so that a school that extended a legacy or donor preference would have faced a civil fine equal to the amount of Cal grants it received in the prior year. But that penalty was also removed from the bill before its final passage. Now, institutions must simply annually report to the legislature and the California Department of Justice whether they are complying with or violating the bill's provisions, and, if in violation, also report the admissions rates of students receiving a legacy or donor bump compared to the remainder of the student body. To make up for the lost state aid, California will be replacing state-funded student financial aid with university funding, keeping our students' financial support whole, wrote Brad Howard, Associate Vice President of University Communications, in an email to the Stanford Daily. Howard went on to say there are important issues which there are many perspectives, but legacy preferences, adding that the university will conduct continued study and analysis of the matter. Although California's public colleges and universities do not consider family or donor connections in their admissions process, reports submitted to the state legislature showed that several private California colleges and universities were giving preferential treatment to applicants related to graduates and donors at the time AB 1780 was passed. According to the UCLA, the Los Angeles Times, the University of Southern California had the most legacy admits of any of the state's private universities, admitting 1,791 students in that category in its 2020-22 entering class, while Stanford had 287, equaling 13.8% of its admits that year. The Times also reported that Stanford students received about $3.2 million in Cal Grant support that year, putting an approximate price tag on what the university's decision to replace that funding might cost it. Stanford's decision was criticized by Ryan Silowa, I'm not going to butcher that, a Stanford alum that now works as a lead organizer for Class Action, a student advocacy group that helped superhead efforts in support of California's legacy ban last year, arguing that the Trump administration was exploiting America's mistrust of elite higher education for political purposes. Slikowski told me amid federal attacks, universities should be striving to demonstrate that they serve the public interest. Stanford's decision to continue legacy admissions does the opposite, all to preserve advantages for wealthy alumni and donors' children. The fairness of legacy admissions preferences has been questioned for years, resulting in several prominent colleges electing to discontinue them. However, campaigns against the practice have been intensified ever since the Supreme Court found race-conscious admissions to be unconstitutional. Okay, I don't feel like reading the rest of this. There's not that much, but I think the greater point here comes in the end of affirmative action, but the continuance of legacy admissions. That's the part that really gets on my nerves, because like it's the same conversation around like Nepo babies basically. And maybe this is like a very California specific thing where nobody really cares about who gets the spots, because everybody who wants the spot and deserves the spot is getting it. But there's the other people, like nobody from the outside is getting in. And what I'm trying to say is, like, let's say you're from Atlanta, like, and you want to go to a UC or you want to go to Stanford, and maybe you actually do have a really good profile. Unfortunately, like, your profile might not compete with like a Palo Alto kid, and that's just like the reality of it. Or like even a funny thing too, like based on your zip code, like, and there's like super zips. Maybe I'll make a video about super zips. Super zips are something I saw Megyn Kelly talk about. She talked about it very briefly in an interview, and maybe I'll link that one. But the idea of super zips is basically everybody who went to Stanford, everybody who went to Berkeley, everybody who went to Berkeley Law, they all live in the same zip code. So that's like Palo Alto, that's a lot of Berkeley, it's a lot of Boston, it's a lot of Manhattan, it's a lot of Brooklyn, right? It's like these super places now, like Austin, Texas is becoming one of those places. Certain parts of Florida are becoming, like, that's a super zip. Some parts, not all of it. Like, any of the like YouTubers that you see on here who are talking about they're from Florida, they're not from a super zip. Even actually, Emma Chamberlain's a good example. She's from San Francisco, but she's not even from a super zip. She's just from like the city. I actually like her story too. Maybe we'll talk about Emma Chamberlain in social class in another video, because she did have she had California privilege, she had middle class privilege, but she's not a Nepo baby, and I think we could compare her to like Kaya Gerger or even like Yara Shahidi. I think that's a good comparison. But we will make another video about super zips, because I don't know, I guess I never talked about that before. I wonder, what do you guys think about like legacy admissions? Like, I think it should go. I mean, well, I don't know. I guess like what would Stanford be or Harvard be without legacy admission? Like the whole point is like the old people who went want their grandkids to go. And I mean, a few of them do deserve the spots, and I guess like 1,700 spots isn't that many spots. It's not that many spots, but I mean, also affirmative action spots weren't that many spots. It was like 300 spots, and people fought tooth and nail to get rid of 300 spots. So I'm just saying, if they're gonna fight to like get rid of 300 affirmative action spots, then I think we should let the legacy admission slots go too. You know what I mean? It's like all or nothing. You can't just like pick and choose.